What's up, everyone? My name is Matthew Dale. I'm here to help you play better, sound great, and understand more. I'm also wearing a Strandberg hat and playing a PRS guitar. I recently got another question about utilizing a piece of Fractal gear as an audio interface, in this case the Axe-Fx 3. This is from Griffin, and it reads, I've been trying to use my Axe-Fx 3 as an interface with Pro Tools. I mute the track I am recording on and monitor through the headphones to eliminate latency. That is a good practice. I'll expand a little bit more on that in just a second. The issue is I can't seem to find a way to independently adjust the volume of my guitar going to my headphones out and the volume going into Pro Tools. To get a good signal into Pro Tools, it ends up being way louder than the rest of my tracks in the session while I am recording. Okay, so let's jump over to the DAW and take a look at what might be going on here. Now, this isn't Pro Tools, this is Studio One, but should be good enough for this example. Right now, here's what I got going on. I am utilizing the Axe-Fx 3 as my audio interface, and I've got this track, my guitar track, sourcing from inputs 1 and 2, which is the output 1 block. Remember, output 1 block, left and right. And then I also have my main fader, my main bus, going into USB 1 and 2, which is going to output 1 left and right. That's not output 1 block, that's the physical output jack 1 and 2. Before we dive into a few more things, I do want to mention one thing here in particular. So Griffin had mentioned he was muting the tracks to avoid latency when recording, which is a good method. However, I don't believe even in Pro Tools, you need to mute the actual tracks. What you need to disengage is input monitoring. So even though my tracks, and again, this could just be semantics, but I thought it would be worth a mention. So even though these tracks are muted right now, and if I unmute these, this is over here, this is what's called input monitoring. So if I have this engaged, then I would be hearing both of these sources. Both of those sources being what is happening in my Axe-Fx going to output 1, which would then in turn be going to my headphones, in this case, my speakers, and what is happening inside of the software, inside of the DAW, going back to input 1, or I guess I should say output 1, the physical jacks, which would then also be going to my headphones. So turning off input monitoring would actually help us to not hear both of those things. You can't really hear it here because I've only got about 3.7 milliseconds of latency, which is not a lot at all, but it is good practice to disengage input monitoring on something like this. So let's actually get a little bit into the nitty-gritty here. So here I am over in Axe Edit. I'm going to leave my preset leveling tool up. If you want really quick access to this, just hit Command L on a Mac or Control L on a Windows computer. And this actually brings up the meters for the output block. So if I play a little bit, my level is hovering right around that red line, right around 0, and that's usually where I like things to be. You could be a little bit quieter, a little bit louder, although not crazy louder, but sometimes I will boost, another 2 to 3 dB for a solo boost in there. But that is what, that's where this preset is being leveled, hence the preset leveling tool, I guess. Now, if I adjust either my amp level or the output level on the output 1 block, it's going to affect what I'm sending to the DAW. So I'm just going to do this on the output block because I like where my amp level is set. If I go down to like -45, right now you can't even hear that. If I bring it up a little bit, real quiet. If I look back at the DAW, I went from, I was hovering right around like -9, -6 dB if this was back over at 0. Then now, yeah, that's coming in to the DAW right around -9 dB, which is good. That's a good level to be sending into the DAW. So even though that would be adjusting my guitar level, especially in comparison with what I want to hear and what I want to play along with in the DAW, that is where we have that issue of not sending a strong enough signal or sending a weaker signal into the DAW on the thing that you're playing. Now, we could fix this by leaving this level here and adjusting our master fader, but here's what happens. I'm going to start clipping this master fader, so we probably don't want to do that. So let me go back to 0. So where do we actually make this adjustment? It's actually going to be over here in the setup menu in the Axe Effects. And if I go down to input levels, I have our USB input levels over here. You can see I was already kind of messing around with this a little bit, but usually these are set to 0. And if you remember, this USB channels 1 and 2 is sending to my output jack and the headphones. I can use this control to either turn down or turn up the DAW. So now I can use that control to actually adjust the levels that I'm getting independently. So basically I would set your guitar to a comfortable listening level and then adjust the DAW level from USB 1 if you have it set to USB 1, wherever you have it sent. Adjust your USB level according to how you want to hear the track that you're playing on top of. Now, what if you don't want to sift through the setup menu to find this input level control? Well, you can actually go to the Perform page, and I'm going to assign this to my global Perform page. That way it's in all of my presets. And I'm just going to map this up there to that open slot that I have. That way, over just on the front panel, I've got really quick access to adjusting the level that I'm getting from my DAW. So hopefully you all found that helpful. Let me know if you have any other questions about using your Fractal gear as an audio interface as well, and I'll kind of keep this little series going. Before I leave you, don't forget to run over to MatthewDale.com/blocks and download some of my favorite Fractal tones for yourself inside of my block library. My name is Matthew Dale. I'm here to help you play better, sound great, and understand more, and I will see you next time.